Holy freaking Next Fest! That's right, everybody, Steam Next Fest is back, starting off summer 2022 with a bang, hop, and slide. If you're unfamiliar with Steam Next Fest, it's a week-long event held on Steam where developers far and wide share demos for their upcoming games. Every genre you can imagine, including first-person shooters. As with my last Next Fest video, I'll be featuring my top 5 first-person shooter demos. Demos that got me excited and, most of all, were a lot of fun. Before we begin though, if you're hoping to hear me talk about the demos of Metal Hellsinger and Cultic, I actually did separate videos on those and you can find links to them below in the description. Alrighty, let's see what these FPS devs got cooking. If you grew up in the 90s, chances are you already know what this game is trying to do just by looking at it. But for the rest of you, Agent 64 is a throwback shooter aiming to recreate the look and feel of classic N64 shooters, GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. And so far, it's right on the mark. The snappy lock-on shooting and location-based damage animations feel authentic to Rare's classic shooters. And yes, harder difficulties bring harder objectives. Clearly the developer did their homework on this one, and it is incredibly impressive just how much this feels like those classic titles. Not to mention the graphics, which so far are doing a good job of bringing back the fuzzy N64 look. And as a heads up, I would recommend playing this with a controller if you have one. Not that it doesn't work on mouse and keyboard, but the aiming is very stiff and rubbery, as it is trying to recreate the feel of the N64 joystick. There's no hard date for this one yet, that's going to be a theme in this video, but Agent 64 is due to release later this year. Fashion Police Squad, or FPS for short, ho-ho, aren't we clever, is kind of a bold title in that it takes fashion culture and old school FPS culture and somehow manages to mix them in a charming, fun, and funny way. You are an officer of the Fashion Police. Your mission? To stop fashion criminals, aka poorly dressed men, and get them looking stylish by means of brute force.
Thank you for your contribution.
What's cool about this game so far is the variety in combat. Each fashion criminal has to be taken down in a specific way, with a specific weapon, meaning you're always switching through your arsenal. Drab, gray-suited men must be pelted with the paint gun to give them color, dudes in bulky suits have to be assaulted with the machine gun-like sewing machine to tailor their suits down, and vapors have to be smacked with a belt to get their pants up.
Thank you, kind stranger.
It makes for some fun and technical battles that are more challenging than you'd expect. Along with that, the game pushes players to be mobile, as your belt can be used as a grapple hook. Humor is what has me in this one though, and this demo is hilarious, full of goofy humor that should allow all ages to chuckle. The game is practically gushing pop culture references from movies, TV, corporate America, and gaming, and the FPS jokes specifically are mighty clever. Fun concept, good humor, fun demo. No date for Fashion Police Squad yet, but it is due out later this year. How much fun would it be to get into a time machine and go back to the 90s at the exact moment John Carmack finished the Doom 1 engine, hand him a laptop running Selaco and go, hey man, solid work on this one, it really pays off. He'd probably be more fascinated by the laptop. Selaco was built in GZ Doom, a source port of the Doom engine now turned into its own standalone engine, which at the moment has quite the scene surrounding it, with the recent explosion in games using the tech. The amount of detail and polish put into this game is unlike anything I've seen in the Doom engine. It's a testament to the longevity of John Carmack's original code, but also the dedication of creative Doom fans. The game itself is going to be a story-driven sci-fi shooter, not out of the realm of something like Fear, with punishing combat that facilitates both a risky, action-intensive, or cover-focused stop-and-pop play style. Either way, the gunplay is already quite fun and pulse-pounding, and like the graphics, has a lot of detail to it. If I had notes, I'd say the enemies can be hard to see at times, and I did get confused navigating the map. Although I will admit, this was a busy week, and I was tired. This demo itself is easily one of the most impressive things to come out of GZ Doom. Let's just see if the rest of Selaco can live up. Selaco is set to release in 2255, or when it's done. Oh boy! If you're unfamiliar with Trepang 2, it's essentially a spiritual successor to the Fear series, the horror shooters originally created by Monolith Productions. Like Fear, this demo has you creeping through warehouses and offices, eviscerating security forces armed to the teeth. Much of the kinetic gunplay is following in Fear's footsteps, complete with the signature bullet time mode and lots of flying broken plaster. But Trepang 2 also sets itself apart by putting a little more focus on stealth. Along with bullet time, players can also cloak themselves for a short period of time, allowing them to sneak past enemies, sneak up on them, or use it to reposition when at a disadvantage. While ridiculous action will be the main thrust of this game, it is cool that T2 allows players some wiggle room to approach each firefight in a loud or quiet way. For me, taking a hit and run approach, hiding and then getting the drop on my pursuers, made me feel like a badass human weapon loose from containment. Although if any little ghost girls suddenly come at me, I'll probably scream like a little not ghost girl. Will Trepang 2 be able to satisfy those still holding out for a Fear 4? We'll find out sometime this year. Okay, where the hell did this game come from? Deadlink is a roguelite arena shooter featuring combat inspired by the likes of Doom Eternal, mixed with a neon-drenched cyberpunk world that feels like it should be in Love, Death, and Robots. I'll cut right to it. The combat is already a blast here. Deadlink is all about twitchy movements and slick shooting. Players are able to grapple around the battlefield and use special attacks, such as a shockwave and quick toss grenades, the type of stuff that would make the Doomslayer broodingly nod in approval. But the rogue system is really what spices things up here. When you complete an area, you have your choice of exit, each corresponding to a reward. You have typical stuff like XP boosts and money, but you can also gain perks, known as implants. Implants bring a host of passive abilities, but it's their active ones that are intriguing, as they are activated by using the main mechanics. For example, one implant shot out homing missiles whenever I used the grapple. Another granted me 5 seconds of fire damage whenever I switched weapons. And I should mention it's up to the player to decide which ability the implant is slotted into. There's a lot of detail here I don't have time to cover, but what's cool about this is that it allows players a lot of choice and variety in how they build out their character during a run. But also, to take full advantage of their implants, they have to always be switching up their attacks. Spamming one attack will ultimately work against them, and already it makes for some pretty technical combo-intensive first-person shooting. Deadlink doesn't have a release date yet other than soon, but keep a close eye on this one. It might be your next obsession. And there you have it. Those were my top 5 first-person shooter demos of Steam Next Fest June 2022. What are your thoughts on these demos? And what demo did you play that got you excited? Let me know down in the comments. And be sure to check out my links for the Cultic and Metal Hellsinger videos below, along with a link to my previous Next Fest video. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on future uploads. It's a couple clicks for you and a massive help for this channel. And don't be shy, come say hi in the Kirk Collects Discord linked below, and be sure to peek my affiliate links. I'm Kirk, and thank you for watching this video. Stay safe out there.